Hey. I wanted to tell y'all something while it's on my mind. One day I got four doctors. One day I went to one of them. He's a guy. And he said, listen, I'm sick of your primary care doctor. And so let me tell you about the primary care doctor I had at the time. Say, for example, you had a cough, you were wheezing, and maybe you needed a cast on your arm, right? This primary care doctor would flat out tell you, only come to me with one problem at a time. So, meaning you would have to go one day for wheezing, one day for your cough, and then a third day for your broken arm. He wasn't going to do all three in one day. Some of these doctors are out to get money. So anyway, there's one doctor that said, I'm sick of your primary care doctor. I got you a new primary care doctor, right? Okay. So, I went to go see her, and this was my primary care. She's identical to my late grandma. Identical. Even has the same smell as my grandma when she walked in the room. Then I had a colon doctor. So my colon doctor, oh my God, he's been amazing. He's also a praying man. I'll get into that. My colon doctor was like, listen, I want you to go see this oncologist. Well, when I got there, that oncologist was booked for the day, and it was a man doctor, but I ended up getting this woman doctor. And like I've told y'all previously, when I met her, she said, listen, once you get the port placed and start coming in for chemotherapy, you can come in a nightgown, you could bring a boom box, you could bring headphones, crossword puzzles, bring something that you like, right? Well, I want to stick to her just for a second. She recently retired, and she did some amazing things for me. But I want to tell y'all a little story real quick. I remember sitting there in the waiting room one day with my long nightgown on with the button down in the front so it was easy to access the port. I had on some jogging pants and some gloves. I was probably looking like a bum, but who cares? I went as I felt, okay? But there was this woman there in the waiting room that was judging me. And I'll never forget. She said, ma'am, who's your doctor? And I told her. And she said, wow, you're paying cash to see her? And I said, excuse me? She said, oh, that doctor only, all of her patients pay cash. She doesn't accept any insurance. And I said, really? And so I ended up telling her the insurance that I have. And she said, wow, that's a shocker. Have you not seen all the awards and trophies in her office? She's the #1 oncologist in Georgia. And I said, no, I had never paid attention, but she was judging me. You get what I'm saying? Never let anybody judge you. And so when I did go back there, I looked in her office as I was walking by, and her office was full of award certificates and trophies. So when you're getting chemo, you go to triage first. You get the little IV connected to your port. You do blood work, all that. You get the blood thinner right there, and then you actually go into an exam room first, right? So you see your oncologist before you actually go back there into the chemotherapy chair. So I'm in there in the exam room, and I flat out asked her, I said, listen, someone in the waiting room said all of your patients are cash paying patients. Is that true? And she said, yeah. She said, you're the only one that's not. She said, because the other doctor was at full capacity that day, she just went on and took me, okay? A lot of y'all might know that previously, about a couple years ago, my oldest daughter got into some trouble with the car. And they the courtroom not only put me out the courtroom, but they put me out of the courthouse like I was a disease, because I was sitting there with my chemo IV on me. Mind you, my child was a minor at the time. The first judge was pretty cool. Like, he was gonna look into her grades because she was a 4.0 GPA student. She was in high school and college. So we thought it would be okay. The second guy we went to go see, he threw the book at us and told us the fine and everything. And he was kind of mean. He put me out the courtroom as well. And some of y'all might remember that here. So all the while this is going on, I'm telling my oncologist everything. I don't know if it's because the drugs that they were giving me or what, but I was just walking in there telling all my business. And she said, do you happen to remember the name of the first judge? I did. And she said, okay, I'll see you next week. Okay. Well, next week came around, because we had already got certified letters that came to the house saying that my oldest daughter had to come to the DMV and turn her license in, because in the state of Georgia, we have something here called the super speedy ticket. If you get that charge, that's all 6 points off your license. You're done driving for the rest of your life. That was one of her charges. Well, when I went in there, she said, I got you another court date with the judge. I said, okay, thank you. Mind you, I was already asked out of a lot of money. Anyway, we went to court this third time. It was the first judge that we had saw. I got in there again thinking that I was going to be able to go in this time. I see my doctor sitting there in the courtroom. They put me out the courthouse again. I've actually got a paper here in the house. I wish I could show it, but so many people are nosy and want to dox you here on YouTube, whatever. But I wish you could see the paper from my doctor and the judge. Whatever my doctor said in that courtroom, which I know, I don't know if I would ever tell it. But long story short, my daughter was able to go and get her license reinstated. There's no points on her license whatsoever. In the background, I was also telling my doctor about a guy here on YouTube that his mom was going through cancer, and they basically sent her home on hospice, and he had no training whatsoever to care for his mom. And so she helped him in behind the scenes as well. And then I'm skipping around a lot because, long story short, these 4 doctors were put in my life for a reason. They were actually a team. They would meet during lunch and talk about my case. I also remember them asking if they can run a genetic test on me. Yeah. Excuse me, because they said I was too young to have colon cancer. Well, long story short, insurance didn't approve it, so we never did find out, the genetic thing. My colon doctor, I remember going in for surgery to have a portion of my colon removed. It's called the sigmoid colon. I had a joystick there on my bed where I could just hit the button anytime I needed pain meds. I think I was getting Dilaudid at the time, so majority of the time I was asleep. And I remember him coming into my room at 5 o'clock that morning, and he said, do you believe in God? I said, yes, sir. And he said, well, this is a serious procedure, and it's going to take anywhere from 4 to 6 hours, but would you mind praying with me on this procedure? Yes, sir. So I put my hands in his. He prayed for about an hour. But when you're on them type of drugs, you have to ask yourself, was that real or was it Memorex? So when I got down there to the OR, I had to meet him again. And I said, listen, were you in my room this morning? He said, girl, you better remember me in your room this morning. We prayed for a long time. And I said, yeah, I remembered you, but I just wanted to make sure it was real, you know. And ever since then, I've had all of these people placed in my life. And it's one person in Pacific here, and I gotta shout him out every time. A lot of people asked me what drew me to his channel. I don't know. His name was Garvin Gardens. He is what I call the Moringa man. He grew Moringa in the backyard. And he's the one that got me taking Moringa. And then I met the American Wanderer. I ended up sending the American Wanderer to Garvin Gardens' house after he left my house. He was introduced to the Moringa, which not only was he introduced, he was growing it himself. He was taking it and giving the Moringa to his dog, which, because the type of dog he has is a German Shepherd, so the hips tend to go out in German Shepherds, and so that's why he was given HD the Moringa. Then I ended up meeting Tan, and Tan was what I considered the lady with a garden, because I couldn't keep any food down. And vegetables, steamed vegetables, I could keep that down with no problem. It would stay down. That, boiled potatoes and boiled eggs, that was my life for a long time. And then so many people that came along: Wanna Wonder, Michael, Dwayne, Doug, Momo, Doreen, Panda, Rachel, Ray, if you're listening, these names I'm calling out, if you're listening, David Bleasby, the Pro Cut, Binky Bunny's Way, Brenda Davis. I know there's a lot more names I'm leaving out, but it was meant for us to cross paths, and I know why now. It's the Moringa. It's the Moringa, and it's funny. Oh yeah, another name. Unearthing Natures and Cultures. It was all meant for us to cross paths. And I'll tell you what Garvin Gardens told me. Before you take the medicine, look up the research papers of Moringa, what it cures. There's over 30,000 diseases that it cures. And I try to bring the Moringa on my channel a lot. Pure Moringa. If you can't grow it, if you don't have a house to grow it, go get the pills. I take the pills. It's called Pure Moringa. Matter of fact, I'll walk in here in a minute and I'll show y'all the bottle. And I know one lady here has been telling me, Jazz, every time I see a cooking video, you got something coming out of a can. Why? And then I got Tan here on at me too, like, shredded lettuce in a bag. What is that? Carrots in a bag. What is that? It doesn't look fresh, you know, what is it? And it didn't really dawn on me until I got to see the produce in Australia of how it looks different than ours here. And then I get a chance to sample food from other countries that tastes similar to ours, but is nowhere near the salt. So what I'm taking in, what we're eating here, is causing obesity, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, because of what we're eating. We got to make a change. And I can't say it enough that Pure Moringa, take one in the morning, one at night. One in the morning, one at night. And even Viper 6, you can give it to the animals. Oscar and Luna has some too. They have something called Moringa powder. Just make sure it's pure. But the pure Moringa, you can get it from Amazon. You can get it from GNC. You can get it from the vitamin shop. But I'll show you the one that I take in Pacific. Hang on just a second. It is this one, Pure Moringa, 1,000 milligrams. This is what the bottle looks like. And I know that it's meant for me to go see somebody really, really soon. It's something that they haven't told me, but I know when I get there and lay eyes, I'll figure it out. Get to know the people that you're around, especially like my doctor team. They've done so much for me, and I hate to see that my oncologist retired. She's going to be truly missed. My primary care retired. It's going to be truly missed. So I'm now down to 2 doctors. Well, I got a new oncologist. I meet her this month, and I got a new primary care that I meet this month. So it's weird that these people were placed in my life at the time that I needed it. Even the people that I met in real life, even Rose came down here, and I'll tell you about Rose. Her channel is pertaining to Rose. Rose came down here with actual brain pills. So if you get what I'm saying, it's kind of like everybody is into natural remedies versus taking real medication that Big Pharma is putting out. I'm gonna leave it right there. And I want to say thank you to everybody that's crossed my path. It might have been meant for us to cross paths. And yes, I'm gonna say it again. The animals can have Moringa. It goes for cat, dog, bunny, bird. If you're listening and you think your animal isn't doing well, give them some Moringa. I think the American Wanderer, if I remember right, I think he had HD an extra 2 years on the Moringa before we lost HD. So that can help.